Welcome to the Early Educator podcast. We talk about everything you need when it comes to growing your business, overcoming obstacles, and making an impact on not only the children in your care, but to your community and your family. I'm Blake. To my left today, we have Philip Hester, the president of our Daily Bread CACFP. To my right, we have Cinta, who is the executive director of our Daily Bread CACFP. And we have a special guest, Josh Smith. He is our marketing and overall IT media manager for our Daily Bread CACFP. Josh, thanks so much for being here. Guys, how are we all doing?
Here.
Doing good.
Awesome.
Good. Awesome. Yeah.
Spring is in the air.
Spring is here.
Welcome pollen and rains and good days, bad days.
Snotty noses, all that good stuff.
Snotty noses, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Allergies.
Awesome.
Come on.
Yeah, and I got a quick story. I'm pretty sure some people can relate to this. So this weekend, went to the zoo with my kiddos and my wife, and we went and we were there, and my oldest had an attitude. She had a fit, and she was having an attitude. She wanted to go see a certain animal, and we're taking her time. She wasn't having it. And so long story short, I had to play the bad dad. So we finally got to where she wanted to go, but then she didn't want to listen. She wanted to be on her own, run off. And so we were at the zoo for probably 20, 25 minutes, and then I was like, we're going home. And man, I had to be bad dad, and I'm sure sometimes we had to be the bad parent, but man, it was tough. But
oh man,
I can definitely relate. It's been real and it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun.
Yeah.
We gotta go.
Yeah,
Definitely been there.
Yeah. Oh man, it was a trip though. But yeah, appreciate all of you guys who are watching. Appreciate all of you guys your comments. So yeah, please bring those in. We love hearing how you guys think about the podcast and everything so far. And of course, if you are listening through podcasts, we are on YouTube. You can see our face in the cameras. And if you're on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcasts as well. So you can listen to us anytime, anywhere, if you have like an Apple iPhone, anything like that. But today we have a interesting topic for you guys. We think this will really beneficial for a lot of you out there, because we know a lot of times with having a child care facility, one of the things that gets put on the back burner a lot is marketing, right? It's the last thing you're thinking about. I'm sure you don't have a facility, and the first thing you think, all right, what's my marketing going to be like? And so we wanted to get Josh on here because Josh is really, really knowledgeable about the marketing aspect and what's required to make sure that you have some kind of a presence, like physically, online, and every kind of way. So I guess my first thing I kind of wanted to mention was I wanted to get a good idea of what you guys thought were like the most important elements of having marketing. Like, what do you think are the most important things that you should have when it comes to marketing your business in the beginning, just in general? Like, what do you say are like the top things you would need?
Well, I can start with that. I'll say one of the first things I'd say, and just speaking very general here, is to just be very easy to find. Mm-hmm. And that can mean a lot of different things. But obviously, having that web presence is important these days. That's the main way people try to find things, is through the internet, through search engines. So being easy to find is huge to me. Picking a childcare name, a lot of times we don't think about that, but picking a good name really makes you stand out. Being in this industry for so long, we've seen a lot of different childcare business names and whatnot, and you see a lot of similar names. So one thing that really can make you stand out is picking a good name that's unique, that describes what you do and the audience that you're trying to reach, and it just makes you stand out.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, I agree. I think, first of all, you have to know your audience. Who are you trying to attract in your business? And like Josh said, be easy to find, but where are they hanging out? Where do they frequent? Do they frequent Facebook, YouTube? Do they prefer, snail mail? I mean, you just have to figure out that. Another thing, figure out their needs, the demographic that you're in. What are the needs of that demographic? Do most of the people primarily need infant care? Do they need after school care? Do they need preschool care? What are you gonna what are your teaching styles? Is it going to be Montessori? Is it going to be Reggio Emilia, Waldorf style, or Bank Street? Those type. What is your style? Does it fit the demographic? And of course geographics plays a part too. I'm here in a certain part of town. Am I trying to attract people from 10 miles away, 15 miles away, 20, or am I targeting people just in my immediate neighborhood? So your marketing strategy may be something as simple as dropping flyers. Maybe you don't need a social media, you need a social media presence, I think, in this day and age. But it may be something as simple as, just dropping flyers, or whatnot. But for sure, word of mouth is still key because people are going to tell somebody and they tell somebody about your business.
Yeah, word of mouth, yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of times now with the modern day word of mouth, the online reviews are so big. I could especially see that in childcare where, you're not buying a laptop or a piece of equipment for your house. This is somebody that you're going to be leaving your child with. So a lot of research gets done by parents online, and those online reviews I think carry a lot of weight as far as word of mouth marketing in 2022.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point when you mentioned people doing their research, especially when it comes to something about their child. So even like people who aren't as tech savvy, I feel like a lot of people are. I mean, it's getting to a point more and more as years go by where people are having to learn technology online, and knowing, being able to have a presence and have, of course, we can go into in depth this later if you want, but having a presence on like Google and knowing how to put yourself on there for what you do, because a lot of people will search daycares near me and look at the reviews and all that. So knowing how to do that is, I think is huge. It's critical.
That's a great point, Blake. That's probably where I would start as far as being easy to be found. Kind of that first step to creating your marketing plan, getting on those search engines. Because, like you said, that's the main thing that people use, the mapping services, and that's how you show up on those mapping services and those navigation apps. The online review services in Google, you have to register your business through the Google Business Services. But I also suggest doing that through Bing as well. That's Microsoft search engine. It's probably the second largest. But a lot of people use Bing in addition to Google, so being on both is definitely beneficial.
Yeah. Those are really, really good points. So I want to mention too, we talk about the most important elements. I think those are really important elements. Do you guys have any suggestions for somebody? Maybe they may not have a big budget to market, so maybe they're looking for ways to they can advertise themselves on a budget, or potentially free tools they could use. Do you guys have any suggestions on that at all?
I've got a few.
Cool.
Just speaking on the so talking about the web presence, starting there. Obviously, getting the Google business started and the Bing business account started, that's totally free. And there's not a very high technical curve there. I mean, if you can create a Google account or a Facebook account, you can go register your business with Google and Bing. That's pretty simple and straightforward. The next step, as far as like having your own website, that's where things might get a little bit complicated and start to feel like kind of an uphill battle for you. But there are tools that are out there for people exactly in your position that don't have a devoted budget for marketing or a devoted budget to hire somebody to build your website. So there's tools like Wix, there's tools like Weebly.com, there's Squarespace.com. These are all online tools that they're paid platforms, but they also have free versions of their product. And they're very low as far as entry level learning curve. They're very easy to get started, and just to have you something that's out there where people can search you, they can find your phone number, they can even find some pictures if you post pictures on there, and you can do it for free. So that's a couple as far as building your website that you can use for free.
Oh well, yeah, that's really good to know. Yeah, 'cause I think that's one big thing is website. It seems so daunting. Seems like you gotta pay somebody a lot of money to get it done. But if you're just starting out, yeah, it seems like a pretty good way. That too, and I know at least for me, I use YouTube a lot. YouTube has a lot of people making these videos of how to do things, and so if you don't know how to do something, then I recommend that too. Just using YouTube for that. That's so many free resources people have made. I actually have one too that if you're not super great with knowing what to post on social media, and maybe how to make good looking like decent looking content and make stuff like that, then I recommend something called Canva. It's a free tool online. I use it for some things. So with Canva, they actually have layouts. It's actually called like layouts on there, where literally they have these pre-made layouts that look professional. That where you can just edit the words, or you can put your own picture in there, and it makes things look really nice, professional. And so that's a free tool. They have, of course, there's stuff on there you can pay for it, but there's so many free tools on there. You don't have to pay for anything at all.
Canva's really awesome. It's a really cool tool. Don't they have you can do video on there now too, can't you?
You can, yeah. Actually, if you've been watching on YouTube, if you look at the outro of this podcast, I made that outro with Canva.
Oh, nice.
So it goes to show you don't have to know everything, with someone small as the outro. That I use that, but
we're not just shilling these tools; we're actually using them too.
yeah. We use some of these tools too. Yeah.
There's a couple more like Canva too. I was doing some research before we came in here. Snappa was another one. I've never actually used Snappa, but apparently it's similar to Canva.
Okay.
And even Adobe. I know everyone's not familiar with Adobe, but they're probably the most world-renowned developer of marketing tools. They make Adobe Photoshop and Premiere, all these programs that professional marketers use. But they also have a suite of free tools for people in our position. It's called Adobe Creative Cloud Express. It's totally free. They've got free versions of all of those, basically the same thing you described in Canva. You can do video editing, photo editing. You can make print layouts for flyers. You can make graphics for your website. Basically anything you could think of. And it's all through the web browser, so there's no downloading any apps or any confusing programs to try to install. It's all done through the web browser, so it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. That's amazing.
That sounds good, but I'm a little bit more on the old school side.
Bring 'em.
I think that, that's obviously where, a lot of all businesses going pretty much digitally. But just some basic things that are super cheap, and I mentioned earlier, that you can make up some flyers and disperse those throughout your subdivision or your immediate neighborhood. But more importantly, and this is something that we still do and what we've done from day one, just the people you're already serving, just ask them, if they're like, wow, I really like your service or your product, or in this case, I love the care that you give to my children or my child. And you like, well, hey, tell somebody. And that's what we say. If you like what we do, just tell somebody.
Yeah.
And that, that's still that word of mouth thing, that piece that, that carries a lot of weight, which now the word of mouth is in reviews, not necessarily, hey, this is a business you might want to check out. But yeah, that's what I would say. That's just super cheap. It's free. Just ask a parent. And if you got somebody else that you work with, tell them about us. We're here. They can bring their child here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to go a little step further than that old school. But, of course, like you all touched base on it a little bit, but there's still the Facebook. People do communicate through Facebook quite often, and everybody has a computer in their hand, and everybody uses whatever form of technology they use, but the Facebook is there. And so even posting that on your Facebook, if you're a childcare, in-home childcare, and you're doing in-home childcare, most definitely put it out there that you're, doing childcare and what your services are, what your hours are, what you offer in that in-home childcare. And if they want to inquire about that, tell them to inbox you. If you don't want to put your information out there about what your address is and that kind of thing. But tell them to inbox you, and if they're interested, so you can have a discussion about where you are, the location, those types of things. If you don't want to put your direct address out there, or if you want to create an additional Facebook for your child care facility, that type of thing. So Facebook is still always an option as far as your child care facility, whether it be in home or a child care center. That is a good avenue to get your information out there as well. If you don't have all the high tech stuff, or if you're not familiar with as high tech information as what you all are putting out there for our organization, but there still are other options available. And I will say that if we can, if anybody has any more, or wants to inquire about some of the information that you've given them, that we've put out there, they can contact our office.
Yeah.
Some of the different.
Yeah, I'll be sure too in this video, if you're watching YouTube, I can't do this on Apple Podcasts, but on YouTube, if you're watching this, in the description, I'll put a link to everything we're talking about.
That's a good idea.
And so if you're ever wondering, like, oh, what did they say, or you can just go to the description in there, and it'll be a link directly to there, and so make it a little bit easier on you guys. But yeah, it's true. Like we said earlier, we're talking about going where your audience goes, and so people go to social media all the time. They're trying to figure out what happened, what celebrity did what, who's doing what athlete did, and so they're constantly there. And so I know it can be tough too. A lot of times you guys are saying, okay, I get it, I should be on social media, but I don't know what to post. I don't know what even to say or what to do. I actually have a couple tips that just came to my head. With social media, there's a couple things that I think is important people to know. Is like, for example, of course, making a business page for your facility is important, but also understand that when you make a business page, this is kind of how Facebook works. Unless you're using paid advertising, whenever you post something, I think it's like up to, they might have changed it. They change it back and forth, but it's like up to like 12% of the people who are following your page will see your post. Only 12%. And so if you want to your business to reach, you can use something like paid Facebook ads if you want. But just understand that only 12% of those people who are following you will see it. But that's not including people who are engaged with your stuff. If they're engaged with your business page, then they'll see it. But only 12% will see it. And that's important to know, because I also want to mention, if you have stuff that you're sharing on your social media, be sure to share it on your personal page. Because on your personal social media page, you'll reach way more people than just have post them on your business page. So if you have a personal page and you don't mind sharing your business stuff on there, I would do that. It'll reach a lot more people. So I want to mention that too.
That's a good tip. Well, you can take advantage of that organic, free marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Your personal page.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
Great tip.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But does anybody else have any anything they want to mention about anything about the free marketing or like social media, leveraging that or anything?
I was just going to circle back and reinforce what you were saying, Cynthia, about Facebook. And, we believed in that so much early on. We were actually building Facebook pages for our child care educators. When we first started really expanding our own marketing efforts, that was a way that we thought that we could spread the word about the CACFP and the food program, and just, get our educators more in that loop with the marketing. But yeah, it's a great point, because also, even if some of these tools for building your website or building an online presence seem daunting or overwhelming, like Senta said, you can always just fall back on that, building that Facebook profile, and just to get your information out there. So people can find you. And you can even go so far as to buy a website domain, a www.whatever.com, and have it forward to that Facebook page. You know, if building that website, traditional website, just seems like too much of a hurdle for you, Facebook is perfectly adequate to bridge that gap with trust, and showing off your location, showing photos of what you've got going on inside of your facility or in your home. So yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to reinforce and support that idea of using Facebook as your, at least a step one for your online presence.
But I will say that if you do use Facebook, it's something that you have to continue to do. You cannot post something on Facebook every 2 weeks.
That's right.
Because if you have followers on Facebook, they will stop following you if you post once every 2 weeks. And I guess Blake can probably speak to how often we post on our Facebook, but it does have to be continual. And how often are we posting now?
I mean, we try
every
to,
3 weeks. No.
every 2 weeks. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, no, we probably post at least twice a week. We try to, like, more like 3-4 times a week. Try to, but I'd say at the very least twice a week. We post on there, most likely.
Because that keeps your audience engaged. Otherwise, they will stop following you.
Yeah.
All of these social media platforms have their own algorithm. You always hear about the YouTube algorithm, but they all have an algorithm, and all of them favor making sure that you're continuously posting. You know, that's the key. One of the key components of the algorithm is this person posting stuff on a regular basis, and that's how you show up on more and more feeds.
Yeah.
I tried to funny story. I tried to create a personal website and a Facebook. That didn't last because it's a chore to continually post, you know. And then you look up a couple weeks later, 3 weeks later, and realize that, you know, hey, I haven't posted anything. Or you get these reminders that somebody's following you or somebody has a question, and you know, it becomes another job, and it's just you know, unless you know that you're committed to that, it's just something that, you know, you better be ready for. You do. You have to stay on it.
You bring up another good point I want to mention about messaging through Facebook and why it's important to stay up to date on it. Because Facebook now, they've been doing this for a while, but I don't know if you've ever sent a private message to a business page, it will actually show you what their average response time is. It displays that, you know, so if you take days and days to get back to somebody, Facebook's going to put you on blast. Yeah. They're going to let everybody know, hey, this person's kind of slow in getting back to you. So just beating back on what you said, Cynthia, is why it's important to, if you do build that Facebook, you got to check it on a regular basis, and you got to be on top of the messages that you get, and not only posting on it, but responding to questions and comments, and just staying engaged with your subscribers or your followers.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, if you think about it, it's your way of getting in front of as much, like, multiple people at one time without you having to be there physically. So if you can constantly think, it's why it's good to constantly have posts out there or do some kind of advertising like that, because you can constantly get in front of people without actually having to travel to them. So, like, for example, I know for us, we use, like, social media, and we do, like, paid ads and stuff because we work in Tennessee and Kentucky, and so we're able to get in front of people in Tennessee and Kentucky constantly without us having to be there physically. So yeah, I want to mention that too. But yeah, another thing too I want to mention, I didn't touch as well, so I wanted to mention it again. Like with social media, if you want to know what to post, like I don't even know what to post, what to put, then just try to think in the parents' shoes and what they would want to see. That's the best thing. That's probably the best advice I can give. Your parents want to see kids having fun. You want to see parents want to see kids having like healthy meals that they can provide. They want to see they want to see the facility. Maybe just walk around, give them a tour of the place, give them a tour of your facility. That's a great one because then you're giving hundreds, thousands of people a virtual tour of your place, and so so then like if you post stuff like that, then you might start getting calls from people, messages saying, "Hey, I want to sign up," and they don't have any questions because you answer them all through your social media. And so I want to mention that too. If you're wondering what to post, just think what do you think they would want to see? What questions would they have, and try to answer those that way.
Yeah, I saw where somebody actually did that, Blake. I did some research and saw where a child care center did a virtual open house. They did it through Zoom, and it was, man, I was like, wow, they're getting really creative, and still going to make it happen, and they're just finding ways to make it happen.
Yeah.
And too, you have to think about what are my family's pain points, address those pain points, whether it's whatever business, what is my audience pain point? And if that pain point is traveling 30 miles out of the way for quality care, some would want to do that. However, that is a little inconvenient, so address how convenient your location may be. If you're close to a hospital or even an industrial site, or like an industrial park or whatnot, think about the demographics that are there. You have shifts. Are you able to provide shift care? And not the traditional 6 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Can you offer evening care, after school care, overnight care? That's a niche, that you might, if it fits, but it has to fit, you have to have, the staff to be able to do that. But if you're if you're located in those areas, you now have a niche where they, can just drop off 5 minutes away from their work site, and they're right there. So, those type things would be, you want to think about the convenience of it. And like you said, in your marketing, show your children winning, show your children learning, eating well, having fun, and those type things. Those are very important that you want to get out. And try not to use stock photos. Use real, as long as the parents consent to, you always want to have your waiver there for any type of consent. To post something like that. But man, show the actual children that you serve, actual families you serve, show them having fun and winning.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think it's really important though. I think it's really good that we mention, the online ways of marketing, but also like the personal ways too, because at least it seems like it right now. It seems like we're starting to get back to a personal level. I'm starting to shake hands with people again. So it seems like we're getting to that point. And so, it's nothing like a personal conversation connection too. But I'm glad you mentioned both of those. But yeah, we touched this a little bit, but I want to mention what are some good ways that you all think are good paid ways to advertise. Say somebody's like, I have a budget, I'm willing to spend a little bit to get my name out there a little further. What would you guys say are the most effective ways with doing some kind of paid advertising in any kind of way, online or in person, like or physical?
In my opinion, I'm a big fan of targeted ads because it's you get to actually pick and cut and dissect the audience that you want to show your ads to, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. These are the people that are going to get your ad. So I always feel like that's where the money's best well spent. But it is kind of an effort to make that happen because you got to actually build the ad, the graphic part of the ad, which you could use some of those tools we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
you've got to actually write the verbiage. You've got to write the language of the ad where it makes sense and it's appealing. And you got to meet the standards and rules that the platform that you're using meets. So in this case, Facebook. So you've got to juggle those standards that they're looking for too. But as long as if you can make all three of those work together, I just feel like I mean, I've seen the results of what you can do with targeted Facebook ads. They're very effective, but you do have to have all the pieces in place.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a very good point. Because I mean, I can't really speak. Josh, you and Josh would know a whole lot more about that than I would. I'm not going to speak on that. But what I will speak on, a lot of times when you're thinking social media or any type of social media platforms, a lot of people think about things going viral or where that's occasionally those type things happen, or they've got so many subscribers or so many followers, and man, they kind of give themselves a hand, and they're happy about that. But are you making is it affecting your business? I could have 1 million followers. That's great, but it's not making me any money in my business. So, and that's what Josh was saying, targeted ads. Say you've got 50 followers now, and you have a child care center capacity of 50 children, and these 50 people are following you. The 50 people that are in 40 of those are in your, you care for their families and kids. That's a win. You're killing it at that point.
Yeah.
So you may only have, 30 reviews or whatever, or very few comments or engagements, but you've engaged the right people. It's just not out there to where you've got a lot of it, a lot of engagement, but it's not bringing in any business. So. You can't always judge things by the number of views or the number of reviews. Now, reviews are very important. You always want to have great reviews if you can get reviews. But yeah, that type thing. You definitely want to. You want to make sure that you're engaging with the right people.
Yeah. It's happened. It's happened before when I've made a post before or put an ad out there. We've only had like 3 or 4 likes, 2 or 3 comments, but from that, I had somebody be like, "Hey, I'm interested. Can I get some more information?" And that person ended up joining. And so, I mean, I didn't get a lot of posts, but I'm happy with it, with the outcome. Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, just don't think when you post that your stuff's just gonna blow up, go viral. That's it's a blessing if it does, but it's not realistic. It's very it's not realistic. Just be realistic too. That's a really good point. Really good point. Yeah. Anybody else have any ideas or anything you want to say?
I'll just say another thing that I like about advertising that way, using the targeted social media ads, is that they all use what's called like a pay-per-click model, and it's with the pay-per-click, it's really clean way of you knowing what your return on your investment is, because you're literally you're paying each time someone actually clicks on your ad. So it's really easy to track and understand how much you're paying for your advertising budget and to convert that to a return on investment. So it's just another reason why I like doing things online and using it in that world where everything's being tracked, and it's just there's a record of everything, and it in turn you can now take that information and make your next ad even better based off of the performance of the last one. So yeah, good tools to use.
Yeah. I'll mention one thing. It's something where you have do your research, do your due diligence. But let's say like you want to do all this stuff, but you're like, I genuinely don't know if I have the time. I genuinely don't know if I have the time it takes to learn these skills, things like that. I've used Fiverr before. If you know what Fiverr is, of course that'll be in the description too. But on there's people who know how to have skills in doing certain things, like making logos, making videos, making social media posts, things like that. And so if that's something you want to look into, feel free to check that out too. That could be a good tool if you have some kind of budget where you're like, no, I want something professionally done, but I just do not have the skill capacity, patience for it. That's one place you might be able to find somebody to work with that may be able to help you in the long run. But I want to mention that too. Yeah, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say also too, don't be afraid to ask those that are working in your business too.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised, you may have somebody in a toddler classroom that just absolutely loves marketing, that absolutely loves
Social media.
Instagram and all that.
and that you may have, on breaks seen her or seen him or her out there on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And they may just be fantastic at it. So ask your own team
That's right.
who who can do this, who would want to do this, and you'd be surprised. There could be someone in your business now that's just looking for that opportunity.
An aspiring junior marketing director.
Yeah.
Already on staff. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, especially if you tap into something that they really love and are passionate about, they might just spark up, and they might do a really, really good job. You'd be surprised. Really good point. Yeah, does anybody have anything they wanted to mention at all? Anything at all?
I think we're good. Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Good.
I
I'm good.
think I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Cool. Sounds good. But yeah, we hope that helps. Just some strategies. There's some online ones with also some in-person strategies we talked about. We really hope that really helps out. I know it's something that's not mentioned a bunch and it's not thought about a bunch because you have a lot on your plate. We understand that, and so we just wanted to be here to help and support you all. But yeah, I guess before we go off, we have any announcements or anything we want to mention? Anything cool coming up? I know we got Taking Root stuff coming up, but and so if you are part of Taking Root program, be prepared. We're coming your way. It's about that time, but that's exciting.
I would like to say if you are one of our educators and you should have received your electronic copy of our newsletter, and if you aren't, you need to log on to our website and ask to receive one of those or give us a call. We'd love to send you out one of our newsletters.
Newsletter magazine.
We've got plenty of
Oh,
good
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
magazine.
newsletter magazine.
Oh,
Magazine.
it's physical now, right?
Well,
That's right.
yeah, we sent out
Yeah.
paper copies, electronic copies.
All the
Yeah.
copies.
So,
Yeah.
Yes, we'd love to send you out a copy of our newsletter magazine.
Yeah, let us know any kind of way. Any call us,
Mm-hmm.
text, email, social media, social media, any kind of way. But yeah,
That's right.
That's great. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Early Educator Podcast. Have a great day, and we'll see you guys next time. See ya.